Uh, okay. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today this is going to be my review for Survivor New Mexico Season 3, which is a college Survivor season, or a fan-made Survivor season. And going into this season, I didn't expect a lot. I thought it was gonna, I had really low expectations for the season. I didn't think it was gonna be that great going into it. Considering how controversial the last season and I didn't really care for that much. However, it turned out to be a really, really good season in my eyes. There are some pretty good episodes here, especially, we'll get into it, episode 5 there. But I think this is actually kind of my favorite college or fan-made Survivor, which may be the one rivaling in season would be Survivor Washington Oregon, which I thought was a fantastic season. And maybe I'll do a retrospective of that later down the line. However, I really enjoyed the Survivor New Mexico Season 3. And I'm also doing this video because it is actually the last season of Survivor New Mexico. So, if you don't know, Los Matatas Studios, which are the creators of Survivor New Mexico, have decided to stop uploading all the competitions that they did. So they did the Amazing Race Neighborhood Edition, and they did Survivor New Mexico. And I decided to watch Survivor New Mexico because I was really looking forward to it. And going into it though, I wasn't thinking about doing a review, but then there were so many good moments from some of these episodes that I was like screw it, let's just do it. It should be interesting. Now, as for the cast, let's talk about that quickly. I will go through everyone player by player here, but I think some of these players definitely were kind of boring, and some of them basically have no idea what Survivor is in my eyes, and we'll get to that. But yeah, let's start off with the premiere here. And I just want to mention that some of these images I literally just took the thumbnails of the episodes and used them in these as the photos here. So some of them are pretty blurry, like this one. Anyways, yeah, as for the premiere here, we immediately start off the season with everyone getting to camp, or not camp, well, they meet up with Matthew, who is the host, and what they decide to do, well, there's, Matthew points to an advantage on a sandbar, and everyone just sprints, and Luke ends up getting the advantage. And you know what? A small little mini challenge to get an advantage is something great. That really intrigues the viewers in my eyes, and that's definitely one of the highlights of the entire season, really. And what Luke ended up getting was a legacy advantage, which I think is good for the the final 7. So it was a legacy advantage, yeah. But overall, the first immunity challenge was kind of was kind of fine. It was not the greatest thing in the world, but it was great. But we do end up losing Cooper here. He does end up going home here, and Cooper was pretty boring. It was quite clear that he had no plan going into it, and I mean, he made it clear in one of the episodes and it's pretty clear to me that I don't know if he even has ever watched Survivor. So I think he's pretty much definitively one of the worst players in Survivor New Mexico. However, it's sad to always see someone go home first. But there was an advantage. I believe there was an advantage at Tribal here, so that was cool as well. And let's move on. Next up, we have episode 2, where this full episode was fine. Like, the Steal the Bacon challenge was probably the best moment, or one of the best moments of this episode. But really, what came after was, so Jake ends up getting voted out here. and because Jake actually found found the advantage at the previous tribal council, which was a legacy advantage, another legacy advantage, and Jake ends up getting voted out here, and he is able to essentially give this advantage to someone else, and he gives it to Luke, which I found that to be just insane. I was not expecting that at all. I didn't think he was going to send it to Luke. I thought he was going to give it to someone like Mickey, or maybe even like a Vanessa, or an Emma, or Caitlin, or something like that. Really, I really wasn't expecting him to give it to Luke here. But overall, Jake was a fine player. I think he is better than Cooper here, or in the sense that he at least kind of tried. He was kind of getting it in with some of the conversations there, whereas Cooper was kind of out on the outs there, and it was kind of just easy for the tribe to vote him out because, if you don't know, this season, I forgot to mention this, was 6 returnees and 6 rookies, and obviously, and Cooper is a rookie, and Jake is a rookie, so it kind of made clear. It was kind of made clear that the vets were probably going to target the rookies in some way, shape, or form here. So we do end up getting that. And it was decent, but obviously Jake, not the greatest player in the world, but he's at least better than Cooper. He at least tried in some, and he was. I think he did pretty well in the challenge too. So. Steal the Bacon is kind of the most iconic challenge from Survivor New Mexico. They've done it in all 3 seasons. So, yeah. Overall, episode 2, pretty decent. Now for episode 3, we end up getting the tribe swap, which was a decent tribe swap. And if you don't know, there's also another advantage at tribal. Well, Vanessa ends up getting it, and what that advantage is she can decide to switch one person from, if they don't like the tribe dynamics, she can switch someone from the other tribe to get with someone from the opposite tribe. So, I can't remember who it was, but she definitely went for someone who's more strength, who's better strength wise. So. And that advantage there it's a decent advantage. I actually do like how she used it here. But yeah, and then we get to tribal with like the challenge. I can't really remember the challenge really, but it was fine. And then Caitlin ends up getting voted out here, and this kind of starts kind of what is more likely of a small pagonging of this one tribe here. Caitlin was really just quite boring. She didn't really do a lot in the season. She was just kind of talking to the people, which was fine. Like at least she was getting into some of these conversations here, but obviously I think they mainly got rid of her because of it, more of a challenge strength, and they just had to get rid of someone. And that's kind of who they went for in this case. Now for episode 4, which really, it was not the greatest episode in the world. However, I personally, like the end, once again, was the highlight. Where the tribe with Luke and Daniel and Emma and all them, and Vanessa, they end up winning immunity. But when we get to tribal, the 4 people there, like Jess, Mickey, there was someone else. Maybe it was I think it was Brittany, maybe Jonathan as well, who were thinking, who could we get? They decided, you know what? Let's vote for ourselves and let a rock draw decide. And I don't. That's a kind of a dull move. That's dumb. And there are way more rock draws in College Survivor than normal Survivor. There's only been like four, I think. I think there was one Survivor South Africa, Philippines, and then there was 3 in Survivor US. One Survivor Marquesas, Survivor Blood vs. Water, and one in Millennials versus Gen X. And obviously, I didn't like that really, but what made the episode was Mickey making this episode decent. Where she votes, instead of voting for herself, she votes for Jess, sending Jess home in a 2-1 vote. And I was shocked by that. And like, I mean, it just shows that Mickey's a good player, or when she wants to be. And let's talk about Jess, who I thought was a fantastic character on this season, who, like, the way he was acting was kind of just weird and kind of funny, really. So I was kind of sad to see him go here, but I kind of had a feeling he didn't have a lot of longevity in the game here. So he was fine, better than the other contestants. But better than the others here. But he's a guy of loyalty, and I believe he was just too loyal. And like Mickey didn't want to go home, so she voted Jess out, and that's a perfectly valid move. I think like the big mistake from Jess here is going to Rox, and that kind of sticks with, I believe, Brittany and Jonathan. And as well, like, going to Rox is kind of it's not that great of a decision. You shouldn't go to Rox. So leaving it up to chance isn't the greatest move, even though it's kind of compelling TV. It's not great game. It would really screw someone over game wise, like we saw with Jessica in Survivor or 33. So. Yeah, alright, let's move on to episode 5, which I think this episode was the best episode of the entire season. And I don't think it's really close. Where we do end up getting an idol play. I mean, first off though, like, everyone is targeting Jonathan at this point. They want Jonathan out of this game because he's a good challenge beast. But Jonathan ends up winning the challenge where you can see the thumbnail here. They have to hold the 2 cups with the water balloon. They have to hold it. And Jonathan ends up winning the challenge. And so they have to think of a different plan. And guess who ends up... So, like, and at this point... it is the merge round, by the way. It's the merge. They merged here. Start of the merge. Forgot to mention that. I should have mentioned that. Now I have. And yeah, Luke ends up playing one of the advantages he has, like one of the legacy advantages. But what else was played? A steal a vote was played against Luke. Mickey stole Luke's vote because she wanted Luke to go home, and Brittany ends up playing an extra vote, which I believe she got at a tribal. I believe, And I did forget to mention that I believe at this point Hannah did find an idol. And it wasn't really shown. I don't really know why. I think she just found it without production looking at her, without a cameraman looking at her. But I really like the best moment of the entire season. Really, was Luke playing the legacy advantage is on himself. Negating some votes there, and I believe Brittany does end up going home at this tribal, which good on her. And let's talk about Brittany, who was a good character. Once again, going to Rox, not the greatest move in the world. You shouldn't do that. Don't really go to Rox, but like, she was a great character here. And you know what? We're going to talk about Brittany in a few minutes here because she does. Spoiler, she comes back in an Outcast challenge. So we'll talk about her right away here. And next up, we do end up with episode 6 here, where we do see also I don't know why the thumbnail's so blurry here, so we're gonna try and go through this one really fast. I think it's one of the best. So Luke ends up winning immunity, and what his plan was, he devised a plan to give up immunity and then play his legacy, the other legacy advantage, which I think is a great move. I think it's a move that I've thought about before when it comes to Survivor, and I think it's a move that would have made history, Survivor history. No one's ever done it before, so unfortunately, it didn't happen. It didn't happen here, and what's really dumb here is Jonathan finds an idol because he knows he's on the bottom, but he doesn't play it. Oh my god. And so, when we get to Tribal, Luke, I think what Luke should have, if you don't know, you have to give up, if you want to give up immunity, your immunity necklace, you got to do it before you go and vote. And he waited until after, preventing what could have been a really good move there. It's kind of sad, really. They should have let it happen. But Jonathan doesn't play his idol that he finds. So Luke does end up playing that legacy advantage on Daniel, which I believe it didn't do any votes here. It didn't save any, it didn't negate any votes. But then there is a tie between Jonathan and I believe Hannah. Here, I think it's Hannah. I think so. Is it Hannah? Is it Hannah or Mickey? I don't know. I can't really remember, but there is a tie here. And Jonathan does end up going home. And Jonathan doesn't come back in the comeback challenge that we'll talk about in a moment. But Jonathan is a real. He's one of the. I didn't really like him. I think he did pretty bad on this season, and it's a really dumb decision. You're on the outs. You should have just played the idol. Oh, come on. And it's just kind of makes it clear to me that some of these people just don't really watch Survivor. So, yeah, Jonathan was there. And then we get to episode 7, where once again there's another idol play. There's another idol play here, and guess who ends up going? I believe this is. I believe this is the episode where Brittany does end up coming back in the Outcast challenge. I'm actually gonna check this though. I do want to check because this challenge with the. Oh yeah. This is the challenge. Yeah. Or is it? Did Mickey? It could have been Mickey. No, it wasn't Mickey. I'm trying to think what happened here because I'm literally going through this off the top of my head here. But Hannah ends up playing her idol at Tribal here, along with Daniel ends up playing his idol for Luke, which I thought this move was these two idol plays, great idol plays here, and Brittany does end up going home again. But let's talk about Brittany again, because I don't like this Outcast twist. It makes me even like her less. I think, and there's nothing she could have done about this, really. She didn't know this was happening. But Brittany, it made her the only player literally the only player in Survivor New Mexico to come back, because she did get voted out last season, and she came back, was voted out right away. And that's exactly what happened here again. And I do actually want to mention the challenge in this episode was pretty good, with them having to stack coins. Overall, great episode once again. And it's just a string of pretty good episodes here. And now let's move on to episode 8, where I don't know why it's so blurry here. I really, actually, maybe I'll go find a thumbnail, because that might be better. I'll just go to the Survive. I'll just go to YouTube.com. Hold on. mind my search history. Survivor, New Mexico. Let's search this. But yeah. It's a there we go. We'll just put it there. I don't know why it was so blurry, but episode 6 was pretty, episode 8 here was pretty straightforward with Mickey pretty much on the bottom, and she does end up getting voted out here, because at this point, Luke and Daniel are solid. Final 2. They want to be in the final 2 along with Emma because they are all from season 1. They're all from season 1. And so Mickey does end up going home here. And let's talk about Mickey, who I think she's a pretty good player. And she was just trying, and she's a great player. She is. Personally, I was more hoping for the other side, like Luke and Daniel's side, to vote her out. But I get why some people might be upset about her getting voted out here. She didn't really have a chance, did she? Not really. She did not really. I'm gonna go back to the slideshow. But yeah. Now for episode 9. Where we do end up, it's the penultimate episode, and it's once again kind of straightforward, where Daniel, Luke, and Emma want to go to the final 3 together, and they end up voting, and it's quite clear that Hannah isn't really going to win a challenge at this point. I mean, I think she actually did quite well here, and they wanted to kind of show decide who's going through throughout this challenge. That it was either, because it was quite clear at this point that Daniel or Luke was going to win this challenge here, and I believe they did. One of them did win this challenge here. Hannah going home, pretty straightforward, especially after getting rid of her idol. And yeah, let's talk about Hannah. And I don't know if she really knows what I don't know if she watches Survivor, really. She was kind of really boring, and she's fine. She's a fine player, and she was I feel like she was just more paranoid than anything, because she was thinking about playing the idols at multiple points in the game here, but she's a fine rookie, better than Cooper, or for sure, and not better than the other rookies. And at this point, I should mention that all 5 of these people are in an alliance, so they had to go after someone here, and Hannah just got kind of screwed out here. And now for the finale, where we do end up getting a challenge. We do end up getting an immunity challenge, which Luke and Daniel throw. They throw the final immunity challenge to decide who goes through or not. Who goes through? So they wanted whichever female won this challenge would end up winning. They would win. They would go into the final 3, and what they assumed there was going to be one more round of gameplay here with an actual vote out. So they were just going to vote out the person who didn't win, the females who didn't win. And we do it. Matthew ends up giving us the news that we're doing a challenge. Basically, doing a challenge. So, whoever wins gets to decide one person to take to the end. The other 2 battle it out in a challenge. Basically, like the end of game fire making challenge, the forced fire making, which I don't like this type of challenge. I mean, a lot of people don't like forced fire making to begin with, and this isn't forced fire making. They don't do forced fire making. It's just a forced challenge at this point. But I don't like. I don't like that they have to do a forced challenge here. But Emma does end up winning with her and Vanessa, and she does end up Emma takes Luke to the end and giving it a challenge, leaving it to a challenge between Vanessa and Daniel. And Daniel, not surprisingly, really, Daniel ends up winning. And it's a challenge where I believe you have to hold a whole bunch of blocks at between, I think, was it cups or something? I don't know. They had to hold a whole bunch of blocks together, and and I think it's kind of similar to the challenge that they did in the final immunity challenge that they did in Survivor Philippines, where Malcolm, the one that Malcolm lost and ends up getting voted out there, and Vanessa does end up dropping hers multiple times right during the break, during the times where they're allowed to put their thing down so they can add more blocks, and that kind of just ends up being her, because Matthew was counting back to the time they had to be ready, and she ends up right in the final 3 seconds before they had to be back in play. She ends up dropping, and there's no way that she's getting back together or getting all these blocks at this point and getting back in the challenge. So Daniel does end up winning, sending Vanessa home. And let's talk about Vanessa, which she was a good rookie. A good rookie. Not the greatest rookie. I mean, to be honest, all the rookies on this season, not that great. They're fine. Character-wise, they're good. They're fine. But Vanessa with that advantage in episode 3, with the tribe swap, that's really all that kind of hooked me onto her. And the only reason I wanted her to go far is because she was in an alliance with Luke and Daniel here. And then we end up getting to a final 3 of Luke, Daniel, and Emma. And if you don't know, all 3 of these people are from season 1. They're all from season 1 of Survivor New Mexico. Daniel played in all 3 seasons, and Daniel ends up winning the season. And Final Tribal, really, Emma kind of just screwed herself. She didn't think it really felt like Emma was not going to win. And so it was either going to be Luke or Daniel. And it kind of felt like Luke was kind of more of this Russell figure. And you know what? I couldn't stop thinking. Every time Luke was on screen, I always thought of Luke from Australian Survivor, who is also a good player. And so, obviously, I think Luke is more of this Russell type player here, and Daniel kind of stayed in the background, and kind of because obviously, last season he got screwed. He got screwed really hard in season 2, being that I believe he went home in the pre-merge last season, and coming to him end up winning here is pretty good here. So it's really good. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. Let's talk about these finalists, though. Emma. I mean, I liked the final 3. This was the final 3 I wanted, and we ended up getting it, so that's good. But Emma, I could have sworn that she was in last season, but she wasn't. I keep getting her mixed up with Carolyn, or I think that's her name, right? Or one of the females from that. One of the female finalists from last season. I keep getting her mixed up with that person. And I think Emma, she didn't do that great in the final tribal here, and that's kind of what screwed her over. But overall, she was good, a good player, kind of going in and out of alliances and making sure she had good bonds with pretty much everyone here. So that was good for her. Good on her. And then let's talk about Luke. Like I said, Luke is more of this Russell/Luke from Australian Survivor, or type player here, or where he did so many moves that he kind of screws himself over here. Or it kind of loses the respect of some of these juror members here, and I think his jury management of Jonathan and Mickey could have been done a bit better here, and that's kind of what screwed them over here. And really, they didn't. Some of these players, they were really, a lot of them, the jury was kind of pissed off at Luke and Daniel for throwing the challenge, and since Luke was kind of the one who thought of it, really, he kind of screwed himself over on that one. I would like to think, and so overall, Luke is a good player. He is probably the better player of the season, and he made some pretty good moves. And now let's talk about Daniel, the winner. And he was actually my winner pick. Daniel was my winner pick. He played in all 3 seasons. Was in the final 2, the final 3, the first season, I think, right? He was in the final. He was a finalist. And it was quite clear to me that he was going to go far this season. And I was really happy with how this season in particular turned out for him. He reminds me of this Horacio type character, I keep relating him to Horacio Gutierrez who's on the challenge Ride or Dies, and boy, when we get to talking about that, well, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of good things to say about Horacio. You're gonna have for that, Daniel, great player overall, and one thing I do have to mention here is that this season is more kind of a farewell, and it's a good way to end the season, and I was happy with it. And there we go. That is my review for the challenge, or for Survivor New Mexico Season 3. And like I said, it's a good farewell to the end of the season here, and I think Survivor New Mexico will always have a place in my heart. They put so much good effort into it that I just really enjoy it. It's a lot. It's gonna be sad when it's gone. It's already gone, to be honest. But every player who's on this season was good, or it was fine, really. But they have a lot of. I thought it was actually going to be an all-star season, which is be interesting. It would be interesting if it was a full all-star season, but overall, I think the rookie field was kind of was more dull. Was duller than the vet field on this one here. But you know what? Good on Survivor New Mexico. Good on Los Matadas Studios. It was a good season, and the way they send off the season, like at the very start of the finale, they do go through they do briefly go through the events of season 1 and season 2, talking about how controversial season 2 was and how close season 1 was in the final there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Survivor New Mexico, good season, best season, my favorite season of my favorite fan made Survivor season, hands down. But there we go. That is Survivor New Mexico Season 3 review. It was kind of all over the place, I'm going to be honest. It was all over the place. I will be honest with that. As for other videos in the future, though, Survivor 44 is starting right away, so I will be doing a review of that when it ends. The Challenge Ride or Dies review should come out pretty soon after this, I would like to think. And then also, I do want to mention America. I'm doing a review of America's Got Talent All Stars, which I'm going to have a lot of negative things to say about that. Stay tuned for that. I believe the video after this, I could be wrong, is re-simulating Big Brother 1. So stay tuned for that. I record all of these videos in advance, if you don't know. But yeah. And then, obviously, this Challenge World Championship is ending here, right around the corner, so I will do a review of that. Challenge All-Stars 4, which it will eventually air, I will do a review of that. Survivor, or the Challenge UK, I will do a review of that. I'm not going to do a review for Challenge Argentina, because I don't speak Spanish. And what I've heard so far is they've done not so fast. Some of these challenges, it's basically redos of Ride or Dies, really, and same location, same everything. But there's 2 episodes per round, which I don't know why they're doing that. So I won't be doing a review for Argentina, but I will do a review for UK and World Championship and All Stars 4 when that ends. And supposedly there's a USA 2 coming around, so I'll do a review of that. And Australian Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains. Kind of forgot to mention that last minute here. I will do a review of that when that ends, I've decided, because it's a good season, in my opinion, at this moment. And at this point, I just finished episode 11. So, we'll stay tuned for that. And then there's a lot of other videos. With the Resimulating Survivor series pretty much wrapped up now, I will do Resimulating Big Brother. What I've done is Big Brother 1 will come out this week, Big Brother 1. And then I'll do the Challenge the Duel, Resimulating Challenge the Duel. And then I will resimulate all the Australian Survivor seasons that are on Brant Steel. And then I will return to doing the Big Brother seasons and going through Big Brother 2, Big Brother 3, and so on. And see how until I get bored out of that. As for the Reddit reaction series, there's I believe Bad Parking. The Bad Parking subreddit is the video right after this one, actually, on Friday. And then the Saturday video is the Big Brother 1 video. And I'm just going to stick with the Reddit reaction videos being twice, every 2 weeks. I did record a expectation versus reality. We want plates. Idiots in cars. Well, that sucks. A lot of videos coming up in the future here. Also, I do want to mention MCC 29 is about around the corner, so I will do a cast assessment for that, and obviously I will do a cast assessment for every MCC moving forward. And my MCC winner ranking, I was supposed to do that, and I was supposed to come out in January. It's going to come out sometime in March here, because it's going to come out before MCC 29. That's the goal. That's the plan. That's kind of how everything is going to go at this point. But there we go. That is the video. Thank you for watching.